Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Train podcast series. Once again, it's me, Joseph Ward. Shout out to Patrick Irvin. You know, he our behind the scenes man when it comes to these interviews. He all shy and stuff, but whatever. We got to do what we got to do anyway. Shout out to the brother. Remember, Freedom Train podcast is brought to you by PAX Inc. That's PACTSINC. And you can go to their website, www.paxinc.org, to learn more about PAX Inc. and all the efforts that they have going in the community and the free resources that they have on their website. Also, make sure you visit our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com to learn more about myself, Patrick, Queen Shelby, Queen Candace, and the return of Enigma September and the Enigma Sep Hour. It's coming soon, so make sure you go to the website so you can get all the updates on what everybody got going on, because Shelby's World is going out on another tour coming up, so make sure you check that out. All right, so I'm gonna get my housekeeping out the way real quick because we got a good brother on the line, good brother with us. I've literally known this brother my whole life. Like, you know how some people say that, but literally, I've literally known this brother my whole life. We both had a chance to see each other grow, going through preschool, through high school, college, all these things, and then into our adult life, and then maturing, also building, creating, living the life that you want to live, putting thought into action, and creating something sustainable, something that you can pass on generations and generations. What's good about this brother that's with us today is a lot of people talk about doing things. He's not one of the people who just gonna sit around and talk about it. While everybody's talking, he's been doing it. So a lot of people are talking about getting to where where he is. And one of the great things about it is he's willing to give back, but he's also letting people know that if you pay attention, he's an example of what you can do and how you can move forward. So he's built a brand called Feasibly, and it's an internationally known brand that is growing and growing and growing every day. Labels himself as a serial entrepreneur. He do a lot. He's smart. He do a lot. So you know, give it up for my homie, Mr. Fred J. Sweet. What's going on, Fred?
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me.
Man, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time and being able to give my audience some information about yourself and your brand and everything that you got going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just excuse the location. I'm always on the move, so
It's all good.
kind of do a little traveling while we're doing this as well. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. So what are we getting into today?
Man, we're learning about you. I know we had you on here before, so this is actually a return to the podcast. It was a while ago we had you on, but I want to make sure that I follow up with you and put more of a not put more of a spotlight, but make sure I help you to get the word out about your brand and everything that you got going on, because you're doing a great job. Been following you, seeing everything that you're doing, the evolution of you, the evolution of your businesses, and I'm like, man, you know, we homies. I have my platform. I want to have my homie on my platform. So here we are.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So for those who don't know you, I know who you are, but for those who don't know you, can you tell my audience who you are? Who is Fred J. Sweet, and what inspires you to take your life into your own hands, which helped you become a successful entrepreneur?
Fred J. Sweet. I'm just the average guy. Which I like to think a lot. I sit back and think. I'm the guy that's usually in the room while everybody's having fun. I like to see them have fun, but I'm usually thinking about how we can make things better, how we can make certain situations better. You know, I have to learn to kind of turn that off. But ultimately, the things, sometimes you just got to turn it off and just have fun. But
yeah,
that's been my gift and a curse. I'm very analytical, so I like to be the one that I said enjoys, but also I want to see my peers enjoy, and I usually sit back and observe everything. And that's what kind of led to entrepreneurship, and the fact that I was doing okay initially starting off, but I saw a lot of, when I started, it was like in 2008, where stuff wasn't great, including for me, it wasn't great. Whereas like I had to make some moves, I had to figure out which way to go. I didn't want, I was put in a situation where financially I was depending on certain amount of things to happen, and it just wasn't happening due to the national, they call it the recession or whatnot.
right.
But
Right.
I mean, the broad scope of who I am is just, I said, I'm an entrepreneur first and foremost, a friend. I just like to make things happen. Like
Right,
I don't
right,
like stuff to be stagnant. So um that in general, that's
right,
who I am.
right. Now, so what was great is, like I said, we've known each other for a while, but
Mhm.
from high school, because you went to FAM, we was at FAM, but you was in the engineering program. I'm in my program, so it kind of, we didn't see each other as much. We were bumping each other on campus from time to time, but we didn't
Mhm.
see each other as much in college as we did in high school.
Yeah.
But after college, especially when I bumped into you around the time of Amway.
Oh yes. Yeah.
But what was great though is you wasn't the same person though. You wasn't the same Fred from high school or the same Fred that we bumping into in college. You was a whole different person. You was more of the foundation of what you are now, because it's like your whole confidence level was on a different level. It's like you was more sure of yourself, like I can do this, because you was the only reason I tried the Amway thing. It wasn't anybody else's pitch. It was because of you. I was like, well, dang, like it was a whole transformation that happened, and I can see how that transformation is continuing to happen. And as somebody who've known you for so long, do want to let you know that we definitely proud of you for all that you've done for yourself and being able to continue to grow and continue to build for yourself and your family, man. That's beautiful. Just keep doing what you're doing, and any way I can help, let me know.
Okay, definitely. And you brought up Amway, which actually I hadn't really contributed any of my entrepreneurship to much of other than me wanting to get it. But actually, now that I think about it, Amway was like the trigger that kind of started it, like the catalyst, I should say.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that I was working at engineering firms and seeing these firms getting paid a lot of money off what,
Hmm.
the work I was doing. But I actually, I almost forgot about that. Like that was kind of like, that's the kind of like the segue to what I wanted to do. I mean, it was okay. It was the start of purchasing stuff within your own, but
Yeah.
even in that was like cool, but that still wasn't my own. And actually,
Right.
that's it. Now that you mention that, that is, I need to give a shout out to them. Actually,
Yeah.
that was part of it as well. I want to get to a point where I can create my own resources and other stuff like that, and not that there's anything wrong with them, but I'd rather bring that closer to home to grassroots and then expand past that. So yeah,
Right.
that's I
Right.
just think about that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Amway was the catalyst for me as far as the change in my mindset and reading
Yeah,
different
exactly.
types of books and stuff. So,
Hmm.
all right. So that was around 2008. So would you say that was your start of you as an entrepreneur, or would you say it was a different time when you would consider your actual start as an entrepreneur?
It was exactly that year, and I contributed to something else as I was saying, as far as like I had about several $1,000s worth of jobs that I didn't get paid for because again, what happened was a lot of the contractors couldn't sell their houses or sell whatever, so the banks took those back, and I didn't get any of that money. So I'm pretty much
Right.
standing out the streets like, they can't pay me because they didn't make the sales. So I'm just like, I'm a fresh entrepreneur where it's like I got tired of working for these firms, so I'm gonna work for myself. But now
Hmm.
I've done all this work. It's like if you show up to the job for like 6, 7 months and then all of a sudden they tell you like they can't pay you, then it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what? And then on top
Right.
of that, yeah. And the year before I said I started Amway in 2007. So it all coalesced to actually make me, as I said, it was a catalyst. Like one without the other, I'm not sure I would be where I am now. Like you said, reading the books and other things like that
Hmm.
put me in the right direction. Those definitely contributing factors. But in my mind, before you brought that up, I was like thinking it's just like I got tired of doing all this work and not getting. But
Yeah.
in that, it also came to a point where, as I said, I don't want to ever be in a situation where I'm just stuck in one stream of income.
Right.
Right. And then that's when the multiple streams of income, the rich dad, poor dad, and all these other things like that,
Hmm.
which all put together, are like the foundation. As I said, like you're saying, I had a lot more confidence. And again, it was because I was reading books. I learned more. Before I was more shy, introverted, but I knew if I'm going to run businesses, and again, I can contribute that to Amway. It's not a
Yeah.
commercial for them, but it got me out of my shell because again, you had to go introduce yourself to people, which is, it's like, are you going to get success or are you going to get where you want in your comfort zone? And the answer is no. So I had
Right.
to therefore step out of said zone and explore.
Exactly. So, what was your first business? So I know you had the ventures where you didn't get paid, but what was your first business where you was able to make a profit for yourself?
To make a profit for myself, I would say uh it started off with marketing. The reason is I would say marketing, ASB Conglomerate Corporation.
Okay.
I started off with that, which went into music group, which I later on figured headed the marketing side of it. It's five of us that started it, but and since I've stepped down from a lot of it because I wanted to go into Feasibly and other things
Hmm.
like that, so I've stepped down from a lot of those ties, but I still oversee a lot of the operations of it.
Right.
So but the first successful I would say was ASB marketing. But again, since I'm still oversee it, but I've stepped down as far as like having to do everything.
Right.
And it said that happened in 2012 when I transitioned over to Feasibly, which I started from scratch. Like
Right.
I basically created it for various reasons because it started with people saying that, oh, you're doing well, you're doing, I was making a little change with marketing and I had to worry about as much, even though behind the scenes I'm like, I was
Yeah, you're
doing a
running.
lot.
Yeah.
Uh, but in that, I was like, I wanted to create something that my peers could at least monetize your passion. That's what it started with,
Right.
monetizing your passion. Like, if people like doing I said podcasts or social media stuff, then you can commercial brand ambassadors, people who
Yeah.
like designing. There's the designers, people who like to look stylish on Instagram. They're brand ambassadors. It's like there's different ways to make money, models and everything like that. And I was like, I was looking at this scope of things, and I have so many talented people that seem that in their mind think they can't really get ahead of where they are. And
Hmm.
I created Feasibly as an opportunity for people to, as I said, monetize their passion. Like,
Right.
and in that, it started there. And then I started with little small things, and we had a whole bunch of inventory, a whole bunch of stuff. And I learned from that going international, better ways to do certain things, different cultures, and other things like that. So I would say to answer your question, the very first is ASB marketing, which launched the next, and then the next, and
Right.
next, and next,
Right.
next.
Right. Nah, that's cool because I remember when I first started seeing you advertise ASB marketing, but I also, as you say, I also remember the people Fred Sweet doing well, Fred Sweet doing well, and it's just like for me, I'm not gonna lie, when I heard people saying that, I had kind of an arrogant moment just overall because if you really look at the our circle of people that we used to hang out in like high school,
Hmm.
it's really like no failures. And if
Yeah.
it is, that's because that person just chose to not do better. But everybody's doing something with themselves. So it's just like
Yeah.
for me, like,
Shout out
duh,
Rickard. Yeah,
right.
everybody own it. Like everybody own it.
We're doing like we in it, but it's amazing the environment that we came up in, but everybody made the choice to actually be something with themselves. So
Yeah.
when we hear people make environmental excuses, we get it. Trust me, if anybody get it, we get it. But we also know about making own decisions for yourself and see the results.
Mm.
So so in starting ASB marketing and in creating other businesses as well, as a young entrepreneur, as somebody who's let's say 1 to 3 years into the business, um what lessons did you learn along the way that you wish you would have knew before you started that would probably help the business be more successful, and something that you could probably share that other young entrepreneurs probably never thought about?
Okay, so initially I wanted to create Feasibly, and initially we had so much, like I was alluding to, we had so much product, so much things that I wanted to do that it just became like too hard to keep up inventory. Like literally people taking stuff and you can't really
Right.
keep track of it.
Right.
It was a lot. We started off in New York or whatnot. So in that, what I found out, just like with Apple, again studying different people, I'm in California right now, is that you basically start off with a few great products, and then you can expound upon it past that. So I was
Okay.
trying to do too much. I was trying to be like, I got this, I
Yeah.
got that, I got this,
Yeah.
And in that, it didn't allow me to focus on one or two great products. Not that you have to do that, but as far as sustainability, it's good to focus on, a few great things, right?
Right.
You can go to like, let's say a restaurant. I can't think about it, but some restaurants have an extensive menu, which is great. But the ones that seem like they have basically nothing, they do one or two really, really good.
They
Like,
sell out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. Not that anybody should limit themselves on their offering. I just found that at me trying to do so much and to try to like to be this and to be that, it prohibited me from
Yes.
my growth. And the next thing is, unfortunately, I had to leave my own like country, like literally to start, with some of the things. So you don't have to go that far as the other side of the world like I did, but within inside your own circles, you might not get as much love, especially where we are, until
Yeah.
you make it somewhere else, unfortunately. So if
Yeah.
somebody locally doesn't really appreciate what you're doing or how you're doing it, find other markets, find other people, and don't, not I wouldn't say be persuaded by what people will sell and might not sell. Manure sells in the right place. Go to the farmland, right?
You know it.
Manure in the
You know
city
it.
is just something you wash down the drain. Like,
Right.
so it depends on where you are and what product you have. And if they don't appreciate where you are, you got to go somewhere else, which is what I've learned to do.
Hey man, I love the way you put that. That was brilliant the way you put that. Manure will sell somewhere. It's valuable somewhere. If it's not valuable over here, it's valuable over there. There's a market for literally everything, and you just got to find your market. So, how did you find your market? Because you went overseas. How was you able to make that transition from Tallahassee or working in the U.S. to overseas?
So I always wanted to explore the world. The whole goal of Feasibly or any other company that I created was to allow to create streams of revenue while I travel the world with my family or whatever. That's why I've been going hard for the past decade,
Yeah.
to basically create a system that allows me to enjoy my family, so I don't have to show up to work and do all these other things like that. Well, a lot lately, like right now, I just went on a retreat in California where I couldn't get good cell phone
Good.
signal right here, right now.
Right.
I had to come back to San Francisco just to have this conversation.
Right.
But I've been on for so long, like in my little, figuring out certain things, what to do. But as far as, I'm sorry, it was a question. One more time. I went on a tangent.
Being able to damn, what did I ask? Because that was an on the fly question. God damn it, I forgot it too. It was one of the on the fly follow-up questions.
I just thought I said retreat, and my mind just like, oh yeah, we ain't working right now. It just feels like
I don't know. It was something following up for what you just said. Shoot, I don't know. I've caught up in your.
Oh yeah.
I went to the retreat with you. Shoot.
I was like, my mind just went retreat. Like, wait, why we what? What are we doing here? No, you're saying how do I get to the point where I went around the world?
Right, that's right. Yeah. How did you get to the international level?
I got to the international level, as I said, because I wanted to see more of the world, and then I wanted in the world of business as an entrepreneur. Well, I'll start off as an employee. As an employee, they take out your taxes first, right? And then they give you what's left, right? So I figured out if I'm going to be an employee and they're going to take all this money out of me, I might as well be an entrepreneur. The money that they would have taken from me, I can use that to travel instead of Uncle Sam taking that money. I can go to another part of the world, find another resource for my business, explore the world, and it's a write-off in that sense because look, I'm expanding my business. And in that, I've connected to these other resources in the world, which start off with like a way to travel with this money they're going to take anyway, which start off to a way of seeing things differently and to being more efficient in the system. So, even within our country, if you leave Florida and come to California, like things are different, or some of them the same. But once you experience those different cultures, you can take all what works for this culture and what doesn't work for this culture and what works for that culture, and then you take the best of all of it and put together. So initially what started off as just a passion to want to see the world actually became a lucrative connections to resources and products and different essential oils that I was in Thailand and got essential oil for like $4 over here. That same vial is $400. So now I got a source where I can just go there and like I can
Yeah,
just flip that like 4
yeah,
ounces is like $4 over there. Over here is $400. Like,
that's a
you
come up.
know, that's
Yeah,
the come up, literally just the import export right there.
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's what it started. I knew I wanted to be global. My ultimate goal was to make revenue in every time zone. I mean, that's quite ambitious, and it's okay. But ultimately, I started off with other portions of the world like Hong Kong right now, and shout out to them right now. They're dealing with the COVID really bad, and a lot of stuff is
Hmm.
shut down again over there. But they're actually 12 hours ahead of us in Tallahassee. So it was
Okay.
like the opposite side of the world. So whenever I'm going to sleep, they're waking up. So it works out to balance that way, and then trying to fill out the
Yeah.
gap in between. So it started off with New York, and then Rio, which and it's funny. It's almost following the Olympic, even though I didn't know the Olympic schedule back then. But 2012 was New York, then Rio was 16, and then
Hmm.
um, Paris was 2020, even though they're having the Olympics in 2024, and Tokyo was supposed to be 2024, but they had the Olympics in 20,
Right.
and this was well before I even knew any of that would happen.
Right.
So it's funny that the cities that I wanted to be in became Olympic,
Olympics.
cities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Commerce.
interesting. But yeah,
Commerce is happening.
yeah. So that's what it was. I basically wanted to especially with after dealing with, let's say, one national, even though 2008 was a global thing, but without, and on top of this, the COVID, but I wanted to be in a position where no one situation like COVID would slow down all of my income,
Right. Right.
which is something I did learn from, as I said, what was it? Amway, they, just different streams of, income, having
Yep. Yep.
different, like if you have a McDonald's that went down here, you got several, so it doesn't really matter if one shut
Right.
down. But if that's your only source of income, then
Yeah, you're in trouble.
yeah. So that's where it came down. But I went around the world because I wanted to see the world, and it
That's
became
what's up.
lucrative.
No, that's what's up, man. Um, I believe in the same thing of turning your passion into something that can pay your bills and give you the lifestyle that you want. I like history. I like to learn it. I like to teach it, and I like to talk. So I said, I got to make something out of both of these. So here I
Yeah.
am, podcasting
Nice.
and historian. And then 2012 is when you created Feasibly.
Yes.
So reading on your website, you were in New York. You were looking at all of the brands in New York and how they display themselves, like all the details, where they're located, why they're located there, just every little minute detail. I don't blame you.
Hmm.
And that inspired you. What about that inspired you, and how did that inspiration really just translate into Feasibly as far as something tangible?
Okay, the it inspired me seeing all these brands, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, worldwide brands, that
Hmm.
people wear day to day. Even I was a person wearing Nike and Tommy and all this
Yeah.
other stuff like that. We become walking billboards and become programmed and become social status and other things like that. But then I realized that none of these people contribute to me or mine, or culturally.
Right.
I didn't necessarily see that. I mean, it's a lot better now. And RIP to Virgil, the
Yeah.
guy off white. But
Right.
other than that, I don't see a lot of, Kanye's doing this thing and other things like that. But at that time, mine is
Right.
2012, I
Right.
didn't see a lot of that. So I'm like, you know what? We patronizing all these brands. We're walking billboards, which was part of marketing at the time. We're,
Yes.
we're we're walking billboards. So I'm wearing Nike, even though, again, shouts out to Nike. I have a problem with them. They sponsor some of our stuff, but I'm wearing all these other brands. Tommy Hilfiger, that it didn't do nothing for me. It was just culturally accepted. It,
Right.
that's what you wear. Or polo, that's just what
Right.
you wear. So I was like, I had, not that anything was wrong with them or those brands. It's just that I wanted to create something that my peers that I knew personally that was saying you're doing well, And if they're in a situation where they weren't liking what they're doing, and they can be unlike, like us, where we go out and figure out, like, look, I'm really good at painting. Maybe I should do murals for here, or maybe I should go into that, or maybe,
Mhm.
whatever, I should create marketing ads or whatever. I'm really good at talking to people. I can be a brand ambassador. I'm really good at designing shoes. I could design clothing, other, just stuff like
Right.
that. Whatever you do. So it was no excuse that the stuff that you do in your pastime, which you would normally do for free, how about we monetize that? How about, like, look, I mean, I want to travel the world anyway. I might as well
Mhm.
travel the world, meet people, and make money.
Right.
I figured
Right.
I might as well do that. I like creating. I like creating. Various things, which led into the really. I might be skipping ahead, but led into my other company, FJS ACO, which is basically a firearms company. I had no intentions on selling guns at all. That's not, I personally didn't want to do that, especially being from the hood or whatnot. But it
Right.
became to a point where it's like I'm making these, like I'm making my own custom guns, and then I got so much of feedback, like I want that, and I said
Right.
I never thought of myself as a warlord. I like even now I'm kind of apprehensive about it. I don't really feel, but at the same time, if somebody's gonna go out and all these people want to, have their own protection and whatnot, why not give them an avenue where A, they can patronize me, and B, I can create something and make something that is better than what they would buy in the store, or take
Right.
whatever they already bought and customize it so it's just for them. So
Right.
that's the side that I want to do, the customization and custom making. Now my partner, he's in the other side, the flipping, which is the side that makes the money. So you
Right.
you you basically acquire guns and sell them, which again wasn't my thing. I'm not passionate about that, but I am
Mhm.
passionate about creating custom, weaponry, whether it be guns or knives that people can have on their person or do whatever.
Right.
That I'm passionate about it. I said it, you know, that is, one of those things where it's like, look, I was doing this just because I liked it, and now everybody likes it. So if everybody's
Yeah.
gonna buy these anyway, I might as well make
Yeah.
a business out of it. So I
Look.
didn't, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, my like I said, my brother, that's right up my brother's alley, and a lot of because I'm with you. I'm not really into guns. I know you need to have one enough, and I want if I don't want to have one, I want a good one that look good. So I would use it for that. But I'm not into it like that. But like my brother, I know so many people who are into guns, who are into the customization, all that things. They'll tell you everything about a gun. I just need to know if it worked, you know.
yeah,
But but once again, going back to there's a market for that. Now, I have two off the beaten path questions.
okay.
So has going into like feasibly and creating apparel, you have fragrances, you have a whole plethora of different products with feasibly. Are these things that you always had an idea or a passion for selling, or did this come about with the inspiration from your trip to New York?
No, I didn't have a passion about clothing or anything. New York
Okay.
started. So to be honest, I looked at who does whatever I want to do the best and figure out how they do it and why they do it and other stuff like that. We actually had a
Mhm.
conversation about this recently.
Right.
So the company luxury brand that did it worldwide the best is LVHM. Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, they're a conglomerate. And again, we're giving a whole bunch of free shout outs here, which I don't
Right.
normally do as a marketer. But just being honest, they are multinational billion-dollar company that owns most of the luxury brand, which I won't
Yep.
go into.
A
Y'all
lot.
can Google it, look it up. They own
Yeah.
most of the luxury brand most people know. So I wanted to formulate my company after that, and this various other products and stuff like that. And where I like, if I'm wearing a shirt, it basically started off with stuff I like to wear. And then it started off with stuff that people said they like to wear. And that's when we got to the point where we had too much stuff, too much inventory.
Hmm.
So I had to dumb it down. I had to bring it all the way back to like fragrances. Like this is something I'm custom making from other products and other stuff that I experienced around the world. So I actually push my fragrances a lot harder than any of the clothing, anything, because clothing is seasonal, right? It could
Right.
be this is what's hot in and now, and until we get to the point where we, actually we're honestly looking for designers and other stuff like that. We're still, of course, everybody's still in the stage of growth. So even now, if you're hearing this and you want to do design and other stuff like that, please check out our website opportunities. We're looking for people who want to design clothes,
Hey,
shoes, and other stuff like that. So we're
hey,
always
y'all out
working
there.
on other projects that don't even have anything to do with Feasibly on the surface level. But I've created so many networks and connections around the world that some products, like for example, Kaplan in France, where they're creating this polymer technology that reduces injury for football players and other stuff like that. We
That's cool.
take those designs and different products and put them into clothing and put them in, for example, polyester wear. They have a way to design the clothes. They overlap. Or the polymers that I'm using right now in the shoes, we can also make those polymers in guns. So it's like different things because I made these different connections that if I just went strictly this way, how am I going to get a polymer manufacturer? Or how you would think that even ties to a whole nother clothing company, but it's all within another company
So,
that we're part of, which is Kaplan USA in France.
right.
And Kaplan USA is soon to come. So just let y'all know. That's
That's
a
what's up.
right there. That's a whole nother entity, which I said primarily started off with in France, and we'll have new patents on shoes and other stuff like that for football players. And right now, we're just launching this large research and development project, which I can't really go into right now. So,
Right. Now that's what's
that's
up. Now, because when you as you're talking about the different polymers and the clothes that can go into different items and things, I'm picturing like I think it was John Wick 2 or John Wick 3 when they made the
yeah,
suit.
exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Working
that's
on
what
that, like
yeah,
for real, like really.
being able to make that type of suit.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
that's excellent.
the crazy part you mentioned about it, I have a brand called Cleo Ferro, which is actually that was like that part was inspired by that because I want
Yeah,
these suits made with carbon fiber thread, so they wouldn't rip or break or whatever have you. Like, so it's just I won't say it's bulletproof, but you ain't got to worry about your suit shredding or anything like that because it's made out of
right,
these like ultra high end materials. But that's a whole nother thing. On these
right.
body scanners that make this basically automate the making of a suit that's custom tailored to you, scans you, the machine scans you and produces other stuff like that. But again, that's a whole nother. I won't go
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
can talk about
yeah.
that. So we always have
Right.
something in development, research and development. And in that, it's just a matter of now I'm at the point where I can let this project flourish and I can focus on this project. I can let that
Gotcha,
project flourish and focus on the next project.
gotcha.
So
So you're not really into weapons like that, but you are good at locating the market. How did how did how did it come about? Were you sitting around one day, you had a conversation with someone, you seen something on TV? How did you get into customizing weapons?
I wanted my own. Like mind you, I'm into weaponry, just not. I don't want to. You know what? I got
Right,
pop up the
gotcha,
truck. I got
gotcha, gotcha. You
warlord
just
type.
trying not to be the plug like that.
Yeah, like I didn't want to be the plug. But yeah, I for a while I went to a gun show in Tampa or something, and a gentleman who was actually from Tallahassee was like, "Yeah, you can make your own gun." And I was like, "You can?" And then I researched. He's like, "Yeah, I can make my own Glocks. I can basically the Glock platform and the AR platforms are one of the most customizable platforms they are. So there's so many different ways of it's like the old school Hondas, how people used to hook them up, put body kits on them, all kinds of stuff like that.
Right, right.
So with that being said, I was like, yeah, I'm interested in making my own gun. I want my own personal, army. So it started from there, and then I made these custom ARs, which I just posted on Facebook. Again, I wasn't trying to sell nothing.
I
It was
saw
like
that.
everybody was like, damn, that's fine. Oh, let me get that. Like, blah. And then I was like, this actually can be a business. So at that point, I was like, since so many people want to do this and so many people reaching out, I might as well make a business. But when I make that point, I have to go and get federal firearms license, federal FFL, what they call it. So
Right.
we're in the process of doing that. Like, that if I just wanted to do like my own little thing, I could have. But once I switch it to actual business, you got to get actual licensing and
Right.
everything like that. So that's the process that we're working on for the past 2 years now. Like,
Okay.
a
Right.
lot that goes on involved in that. So,
Right.
but that's
So
what it came about. I basically the
that's
same
what's
thing.
up.
I'm already doing what I already want to do, and people show interest in it. And I'm like, because I was already an entrepreneur, had it been the other way around, had I not been an entrepreneur, I probably wouldn't have. Nah, because I don't
Right.
know what it is, but after being at being able to traverse these different places and other stuff like that, where I literally have a clothing manufacturer reach out to me. It's like, yeah, we got special polymers, so if you want to make your own frames, and we already do this anyway, so you can make your own custom frames. We got special plastics and everything, so you literally can mold your own frames and do everything from scratch. And I'm like,
Wow.
really? I'm not there yet, but now it's good to know that I have those connections on the other side of the world where, you know, where I can stamp out my own frames, literally my own gun, not a customizer. It is like uniquely ours. So that
Right.
might come in the future. We haven't really locked in on that one right now. We just specialize in the customization.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. So to get back to Feasibly, because you think different from everybody else.
People
Nah,
tell
but
me
that's
all
a
the time.
that's a great thing. I'm saying it as a compliment
Mhm.
because it's forward thinking versus stagnant. I wish it would happen thinking. I mean, no offense to anybody, but manifestation madness has ran rampant within our community. And I'm all about visualizing, but after you visualize, you got to take action. And
Mhm.
you're a person that's about putting a plan together and taking action. So yeah, you think different. So with that being said, what makes Feasibly stand out from the brands that you were inspired by? The brand, and even a lot of the brands that's around, what's different about Feasibly?
For us, by us, so like FUBU, but not us necessarily being African American population. Us being those who feel empowered by doing what we like to do, right? Like literally monetizing your passion. You have individuals that will go to the designer brands and other stuff like that, and they want to work for Gucci because that's the Gucci the brand. I
Yeah,
want individuals, and that's another thing. We don't just make our own stuff. What we do is take, like, for example, people that already have great products and rebrand them. Like, so if somebody already has a great fragrance or already has a great clothing line or already has, we take their signature like products or whatever they have and rebrand it as our own. And again, they get percentages. They get paid out
right,
20% for just coming up with an idea. That's what we
right,
basically started on. It's like, if you have the idea, but not necessarily the resources to manifest that idea, we're going to give you 20% of revenue just for coming up with an idea. You're getting paid to think.
right,
Like, I don't know any other, not that they aren't out there. I just don't personally know that you can go to Gucci, come up with a designer, come up with a design, and you get paid royalties from whatever sales on
right,
it. We do
right.
that. That's what I basically started off with. I basically I like what I like, but there are gonna be people that steer the market to like whatever they like. You have those influencers and other stuff like that, which is great.
Hmm.
Ultimately, I want and I would like individuals that are already entrepreneurs that are already good at what they do. This is where my marketing and stuff comes in. Like, for example, as ASB marketing, you have restaurants that already make great food, but they might not get a lot of business because how things are marketing or how they run their systems are. They might be good, but they might not do their books very well, and they're struggling with IRS or whatever. So with that, and feasibly we and I know how to run businesses. All I need you to do is be good at whatever you do, and then you make the products you want to make, and you don't have to worry about all the extra stuff it takes to run a company as long as you make great products. So we're sort
Right,
of like a fast track to product development. If you're already in a hometown making a great product, and you don't have money to do marketing, you're trying to get here, you're trying to get there, and that's the great thing about going international. There's products and stuff that you don't see in other countries that I can bring here now. You'd be like, wow, and you wouldn't even know locally
yeah,
if
you
you
go
didn't have
crazy over
it.
it.
So,
Right.
and that's, again, it's also market. For example, stuff in Brazil, American stuff in Brazil is exotic. Brazilian stuff here is exotic. So it's just a swap of different brands and ideas. Like, I won't go into this, a well-known brand here that might as well be Louis Vuitton or Gucci down there. That is like a really simple brand here. And again, I won't mention it, but it's like gold down there and vice versa. So it's a lot of styles. Like, what you'll see is a lot of flea markets or whatever, the Brazilian butt jeans and the
Yeah,
different designs, those
yeah,
started in those various areas. Or a lot of Asian stuff like that, those started like overseas, and we slowly, people either
right,
moving here or they're just getting resources back from their homeland and selling it to us, is about the same thing. So, and
exactly.
like, there's stuff, American trends, a lot of hip hop, a lot of, various things to hear that now the world is now getting an appetite for.
Right.
So it's a matter of positioning and pivoting yourself in the right market for it. That's going on a tangent, but that's it.
That's what's up. So I think I have an answer to this next question already. I think you answered it unintentionally, but
Okay.
over the FISA League has been in existence. It's 2020 now. My math was off. I don't know what
10
I was like.
years.
My math was off. Yeah, 10 years. I don't know what it took. I saw 2012, but I was thinking 2022. 2002. I think I was thinking
That's when we
02.
graduated
Yeah.
high school.
I know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But 10 years, you've been in existence for 10 years. You've been able to grow for 10 years and evolve over the 10 years. So how was, and I'm gonna combine questions. How were you able to evolve as a man and evolve as an entrepreneur over these last 10 years? Like what things did you actively do for yourself to help you get better and evolve as far as you as an individual and your brand?
As an individual, it forced me to work with others. Number one, I inherently will be in a room by myself and I have to be bothered. But it made me reach out and go outside of my comfort zone. I wouldn't say maybe that, along with the passion of wanting to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I understood that I had to step out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And within that, like I get this from my parents, but if you want a good woman, be a good man, and vice versa. So if I want a great company, I want the products of my company to be good. I want the output of my company to be good. I want to always have my face clean, even if it takes me 3 or 4 times what it would normally take to get something done right. I'd rather do it right and not have that issue regarding like that something ain't quite put together right or anything like that.
Right.
So in that, I'm sorry, Beyonce just stepped in. It's like, you done? And getting to that made me a better man. As far as that, it attracted other entrepreneurs to me, and my fiance being an entrepreneur, just the ability to help her in her business because of all the things I've been able to do, that brings more to the plate than just you're a provider, you're all this, and finding somebody that gets on board, that understands that the reason I've been working so hard and not going to these parties and not really looking for a relationship is because I've been building something for a future. I want to be able to really tend to my kids and not have to show up to anybody's job. Or even as an entrepreneur, starting off, you're going to spend a lot of hours there. And yes, it's for you, but that's still a lot of hours away from your family. And in that, I had a goal in mind. And, I got a fiance now, like literally just, 10 years,
Right.
It's all coming to fruition. Like now, now all the work that I've been doing, which seemed like in vain, couldn't find, not that I couldn't find nobody, but nobody I wanted to sit down with and grow with.
I get you.
In that, it forces me to I won't say forces, but it drove me to make sure that what I'm doing was on that path. So I wouldn't be doing all these other things that would distract me and I'll become stagnant and live in the status quo. One of the things I remember is mediocrity is the nemesis of greatness. So I can just, not to say that anybody was mediocre, but if they weren't great or they weren't necessarily in the path that I was going, then why be distracted by it? Like, so if I didn't already start this journey and this thing with FAMU and various other companies, then I might have been easily persuaded to stay in the engineering field and make, a few thousand and just be happy and settle down and just live with what I know. So in that, the business has changed me. For one, it allows me to see cultures around the world. So there's, I said, people around the world that I can experience, and allows me to grow to know how to interact in certain cultural situations. Right now, I'm in California enjoying, a resort with friends that just last year, 2 years ago, I didn't even know. Just experiences on top of experiences, just because of the mindset that I acquired during the growth of as an entrepreneur.
That's what's up, man. So, what tips young entrepreneurs, up and coming entrepreneurs, or even people who are later in life who are just finding their way as an entrepreneur, or the light bulb went off in their head of this is what I want to make my passion and make some money off of. What tips would you give these people to make sure to help them be successful with their businesses, or just successful in everyday life as well?
That goes back to what I was just talking about. I got sidetracked. It started off with my upbringing. As a youth, I always had what I needed, but never what I wanted. So I always had a drive to go out and get it, because I was one of those kids that made this long Christmas list, but didn't get anything that I want on the list. So it kind of drove me like, you know what, I want out of this place. I want out of this. So as far as new entrepreneurs, stay hungry. Like, stay hungry, but not at the expense of burning bridges. Like, don't, a lot of people are going to be for self. And as a marketer, I understand that. Most people are going to be out for self. You got to understand that. And that's the beautiful thing about marketing, is once you find a carrot, you know how to like pivot the mule, right?
Right.
But in that, the best thing you can do is always keep your face clean. So don't take shortcuts. Shortcuts just the fastest way to do it over again. Like, so that's what I like. I said, starting off, it's like, you know what, I can't afford to make this right. And in that, explain that, but don't take on a job if you have that situation. Because there's a lot of times, on tangent, but it's a lot of times that as new entrepreneurs, we only have so much money, and we got to make something happen because we only have so much money. But we get over our head making promises that we can do these things, and something goes awry, and then it's to the point where you're over your head and it's like, I can't fix this. So they just disconnect and just get lost. And I find that happens too many times, with entrepreneurs, and just African American entrepreneurs, not necessarily, anybody else. I mean, I deal with them too. They do the same thing, but I guess it's more closer to home, where it's like, I had a shirt order, and life happens, you got tired, whatever, but now it's the deadline, and now it's not, not coming through. Whatever you do, make sure your face is clean. I mean, that almost goes without saying, but I find so many people that mean well that end up burning bridges because, I can't make this work, and now they're calling me. I don't want to give an excuse, and then they get ghosts. And then now your name is like doo-doo in the streets. We don't deal with you. Like, and you had a great product too. We don't mess with you, like, for that reason. And then it's like, it's always something, and then it becomes a mentality. It basically is built on mentality. So to answer that question, what they should do: number one, PMA, positive mental attitude, right? Number two, don't take tasks that you can't, even if it happens, be candid. Like, and I learned that from my dad, and that saved me in a lot of situations where it's like, oh, you know what? I personally don't like to sell people and stuff. I'd rather tell you the very worst that could happen, that'll deter you a little bit, and that this is like the opposite of sales. But it is, what it does is let people know that you understand and you have the best interest in mind. So that most people will tell you they want to be sold on something, and that's the case. But with most entrepreneurs, we are so used to people BSing, we want to know what could go wrong first, which again is backwards for the general population. For the general population, tell them what they want to hear. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but that's what it is. They don't think. But as a business owner, I prefer to deal with other business owners because, like, hey, I want this, and that. I'm the first one to tell you, like, you know what? I got a large schedule. It might not come on time, but we can do it if you push forward. It's like, okay, well, now you know. So if it doesn't come up short, then everybody's happy. I rather basically undersell and overpromise. That's just me. And again, that's worked well for me because, again, a lot of times most people are dealing with somebody that's trying to get something out of them. And I'd rather be upfront on what could all go wrong. And if you still want to push forward, you thought you were going to get your stuff in a week. I got it to you in 2 days. Versus, oh, yeah, I can get it in 2 days. And then something happened, they get it in a week.
Gotcha.
Like, that's why my face is always clean, because I'd rather tell you that, I almost can't do it. But you know what? I do it. But this could happen. And then you're like, you know what? I thought it was going to be a week. Yeah, you got it in 2 days. But that's not normal. But I'm just letting you know. Like, I think that if the world, reversed that approach, it it'll work a lot better, especially in between entrepreneurs. Now, again, the general public, they want to be sold on something. If you tell them,
Right,
I'm like, oh no, it ain't gonna work, and they gonna go somewhere else. So that doesn't necessarily apply to to the average consumer or the average person that just wants to what they want. As an
right,
entrepreneur, if you use that strategy and that tactic to make sure your face is always clean, and then to under promise and over deliver, you'll always have a door opening, and you want more people wanting whatever you have.
right,
Period. That
right.
that is that is one of many notes to give you.
Nah, man, that was beautiful, man. That's great. You dropped a whole lot of gems on that. Just empty your pocket full of gems on that one. So, nah, man, that was great. Now, I appreciate you though, Fred, because not only did we get a chance to learn more about you, give more people an opportunity to support you, but also people to learn something from you because you're dropping gems on people. Um, what's your website? Where can people support Fisa Lee and all of your other businesses?
Okay, start with Feasily, which is feasily.com. And most people say Feasale or whatever. It's like, well, stop it. If
Yeah.
you don't know how to pronounce it, you ain't in the group. It's Feasily. It's FEASALE.com. Then you got I'm sorry, you got FJSACO, which is basically we're officially a manufacturing company for polymer and metal tools. You know,
Hmm.
that is if you want your different weaponry customized. Also, I oversee ASB Conglomerate Corporation, which involves T-shirt Envy. If you need custom T-shirts done, we can get those done in an hour and less if you're in the Tallahassee
So
area.
do.
And
So
and,
do.
and
I can
also
test
we're
test to that.
yeah. And we also expanded the T-shirt side to Tampa as well. So Tampa will be a new market for us. Then ASB Conglomerate, that's anywhere in the country. Like we have offices in Tampa, Miami, Houston, California. So if you need marketing materials, flyers, brochures, you just hit us up and we can get that done. That's asbms.co. Right now we're building a site, so that might be a little down for right now. Past that, there are a lot of other entities. Crip and Block, which is cryptocurrency. I didn't go into any of that. Miami Bitcoin. I didn't go into any of that. I'm just gonna state them because we're still building
Right.
stuff. Kaplan FR, which is in France. You can look at if it'll translate. Some of the products that we're selling, actually American football stuff in France right now. So that's one of those things that American football, which we call football, but the rest of
Hmm.
what we would say soccer is their football,
Hmm.
but they put the American on it, and you'll see a lot of our Americanized stuff over there now.
Okay.
Stuff like old jerseys and stuff are selling in thrift stores over there for like 50, 60 euro, and that's one of those things about pivoting markets. Like I can get an old jersey, buy something out of Goodwill for like, and they going up, but out of like
Yeah,
10 bucks.
they have.
They go they go over there and sell it for like 50 euro, and that's just knowing the market. Like something somebody
Hmm.
threw away that Goodwill they made their money. A jersey that should have been
Right.
like $4 or $5, they now tax them for that. But
Right.
now you can go over and take that same product and push it in another country. But with all that saying, that's Kaplan FR, which again, if you're interested in that shows in products and brands. That's another thing that I'm bringing to US Kaplan USA. So yeah, right now feasibly, T-shirt Envy. I want to push that heavy in Tallahassee. ASB marketing, and I said there's a lot of other products, but those are the ones that I want to get out there. So I'll say
Yeah.
T-shirt Envy and feasibly, and the fragrances are coming soon. We're revamping other stuff. Point where I gotta ship out stuff to Bermuda, Hong Kong, get these things out, and I'm gonna start pushing more
Everywhere.
stuff toward the U.S. because I honestly, we had this conversation earlier. I haven't really pushed anything in the United States
Hmm.
because, again, it's like the home love is like,
It's
eh.
different. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
different.
it's like, eh. But with that, I appreciate you having me on your
Yes,
show, sir.
sir.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Nah, you the man. Hey, look, man. Anytime. Like, I'm like when I bumped into you at the working class Wednesday. Like, look, man, I've been trying to get up with you for a minute, but it's a. I did want to make sure giving you your flowers though, bro, because seriously, you have done the damn thing. You've done your thing. You've done yourself proud. You've done your family proud. You've done your city proud. You've done just your community, going out doing what you're doing, building what you're building, and not letting anybody hold you back or stop you from doing anything, man. So congratulations on everything that you got going on, man. I'm very proud of you, man, and just keep doing what you do, bro.
All right, and there's one last thing. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be a great person if I didn't shout out my fiance. She has a business. It is Be Fit. Go check her out. She has an app right now that it's normally about $150 for personal training, which she charges her other clients much higher than that. Where now, if you go to it and put in committed, you'll get $100 off a month. So it basically saves you $1,200 over the year for your own personal trainer. Like literally, they go in, they'll get you health, food plans and other stuff like that. I want to, she customizes all that other stuff like that. But again, BeFit, and her website is atfipro.com. And again, is atfipro.com. Check her out. You want to get in shape. Our other training facilities right now that, for example, if you have coaches, basketball teams, we also teach preventative maintenance, basically exercise so you don't get hurt. That's the best way. But with that, that's about it. Man. I just gotta make sure I shout her out.
Yeah, man. Nah, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything. Y'all support everything. I'm gonna make sure all these links are in this description so you all can just go and click and everything like this. This is how we do it. I'm Joseph Ward. He's Fred J. Sweet, and this is how we do it, man. Rickard's High School. This is how we do it. Right. See y'all later.